Hey guys from the Thoughtful Gardener, it is seed ordering time. The most wonderful time of the year, as far as I'm concerned, is when these start to show up. I absolutely love ordering seeds because it is something to look forward to for the upcoming season. And many of your seeds, especially if you're going to be doing winter sowing, which you can view that video here on how to do winter sowing, it's time to get your natives going. Now, I had great luck this year with Prairie Nursery, and my friend who's an expert at seed starting helped me with the video of how to do this technique. So we're not going to cover that in this video, but I want to show you what the seed packet says so you understand that there's a sense of urgency. Number one, seed companies do absolutely run out of seed stock, which is why on my most favorite seed companies, I have already placed my order for this year, not only for seed, but also for bulbs, because you might not get what you want. So my ranunculus bulbs are already in pots, and my native seeds had already been ordered and put into containers outside. So for example, this Royal Catchfly says that it needs C60. What C60 means is that it needs at least 60 days of freezing cold temperature. Well, it's been really warm here in the Northeast. In fact, today, it's pretty hilarious that it was 50 degrees yesterday, January 2nd. Today is January 3rd, and it is cold, but not snowing. So we're back in the 20s below freezing. So my seeds are just happily nested outside, doing their thing, freezing and thawing, which cracks those seed coats open and will allow them to sprout. And in fact, when I looked yesterday, I already have some that are sprouting in their containers. I don't know if that's good news or bad news. They might not make it, but we'll see. So I'm probably going to do a second round of the Catchfly and some Virginia bluebells because of the warmth. I'm just not sure how well those early seeds are going to do. But what I want to talk to you today about is what seeds I'm ordering and from whom. Now, if you're going for native seeds, I always recommend that you try to get native seeds from your eco-type, from your 100 miles or less, your location. So look for local seed vendors if you can. If you look at the eco trends for 2022, pollinator gardens are all the buzz. Literally, they're number 2 on the list in terms of popularity for 2022. Number 3 is native bee gardens. So we're going to be focused on seeds that will help your pollinators and be delicious for you to consider. So I'm going to share my screen here so you can see the seed companies that I am patronizing this year. All right, so one of those seed companies is White Flower Farm. Now, I am a huge fan of dahlias, and you can see here one of my absolute favorites that I grow. Now, in my zone, it's questionable whether your dahlias will come back or not because of the cold weather. It's very, very possible they will not. But we have videos on dahlias and how to get these dinner plate dahlias by pinching those bulbs. So if you're interested in that, definitely look at the end of this video for our tutorial. But you will see these are not inexpensive, which is why I overwinter them in my lower garage. So if you are interested in your dahlia bulbs, now is the time to order. They typically will not ship them until it is time to be planted, and they show you very nicely here how you get them in the ground and how you should place them. So hope that you will consider White Flower Farm for your cutting gardens. Dahlias are just absolutely beautiful and a lot of fun to have. My favorite native plant seed supplier is definitely Prairie Moon. They have a really nice variety, and sometimes I'm not able to get what I want from a local one called Ernst. So Prairie Moon has been a great option for me in getting some of the more unique and rare native seeds that I'm looking for my garden. I love red seeds. A friend of mine, Carl Gersons, who's the curator at Longwood Gardens, says I must have been a hummingbird in a former life. I think that's probably true, but I also love red because that's what the hummingbirds like. And I am super excited to grow Royal Catchfly this year. It doesn't bloom for a long time, so you'll need to incorporate these seeds with other seeds that will give you that symphony of blooms that will keep your pollinators coming back. It's really important as you are considering your pollinator garden to really think about things that are going to bloom throughout the season. And one of the interesting things about Prairie Moon is they actually have seed mixes. Another trend this year for 2022 is the gardens that are now being converted over to meadows. So if you are looking to potentially create a meadow or create an area, an insectarium, which is what I have around my fruit trees for your pollinators will say thank you. Essentially, it's going to give them a place to hide, a place to lay their eggs, and a place to eat. And they have lots of different seed mixes here for you to choose from. They're going to tell you exactly what you're going to need to be able to grow in your area with your light requirements, and they sell it based upon your square footage. So you definitely wanted to have your square footage calculation. And then you want to follow the instructions of how they say to plant this. I have also had great luck with American Meadows. If you're interested in creating a meadow, I used them last year because they had a late season meadow blend and I'd actually bloomed before the end of the season. I didn't put it in until late July and I was super excited to tell you that it did work. So that could be another option for you. Now, if you love herbs, and I love herbs, but guess what? According to the data, so do pollinators. And one of the number one things you can plant for pollinators this year is agastache. Now, Rare Seeds from the Baker Creek Company is rareseeds.com if you're looking for this particular vendor. They have lots of different kinds of agastache. Now, this is the one that I grow in my garden called anise hyssop. And honestly, if you're here in central Pennsylvania, it seeds itself everywhere because I leave my pollinator garden standing. Now, you will need at least 6 hours of sun to make this, but you are going to love that you have something in your garden all the time. We've talked about a symphony of blooms. It's really important to keep your pollinators there. If you're a tea drinker, you can also make tea out of this. It tastes a little licoricey, so it's really very, very delicious. So it can be used in recipes as well as teas. So I absolutely recommend this plant, and I absolutely recommend Baker Creek for all of your seeds that you might be considering this year. They also carry bulbs, tubers, garlic, live plants, and other types of tools. So I'm telling you this now because I don't want you to be disappointed if you can't get what you want. I ordered my plants the first thing at the beginning of the year. I went through the catalogs, I picked out my seeds, my bulbs, my tubers, because in the last 2 years, gardening has become the #1 hobby in America. And you want to get what you want, which means you need to be ordering your seeds right now. Don't wait because you might be disappointed. Now, one pro tip. If you have other friends and family who are gardeners, share your order with them and let them know what you ordered so they can order some different things and you guys can seed swap. So not only do I save seeds out of my own garden to share with local gardeners, but all of my seed orders will be shared with local gardeners too. Because guys, we're in a really challenging time. Food prices have gone up tremendously. Lots of people are concerned about supply chains, which continue to be disrupted. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I am trying to tell you that if you haven't gotten on ordering your seeds, get it done. Rareseeds.com is probably one of my most tried and true favorite seed suppliers of all time. One, they give you free seeds, and every year they send me something that I normally wouldn't have ordered, and I'm so excited because every time it turns out to be a delight. Number two, they guarantee their seeds. I had one seed packet that did not produce, and maybe it was my fault. Maybe I put the seeds in the wrong place or they got eaten by critters. I don't really know, but they didn't produce and there was no questions asked. They replaced it. So I can tell you with certainty that they are going to stand by their seeds. And I think that's really, really important. The third thing I can tell you is you need to store your seeds properly. Now, a lot of people store their seeds in a refrigerator, and that's completely fine, especially the ones like this catchfly that need cold stratification. But if you don't have that, make sure you're keeping your seeds in a closed container that are dark, or in my case, in a cabinet. Now, I was really lucky. Santa brought me some galvanized seed containers this year, and I purposely wanted that in case I was ever in a situation where I had to leave my house quickly. I know that this sounds terribly far-fetched, but there have been some really bad firestorms on the West Coast, most recently in Colorado. And if you had to leave your house in a hurry, one thing I would want is my seed stash, because I could at least plant those seeds after the storms. So if you are looking to be self-sustaining, I highly recommend that you think about your seeds and keeping them in a safe place and making it easy for you to transport in case of an emergency. I hope that these tips have been helpful. I'm really looking forward to partnering with you this year. If you've never grown from seed before and you need help, we've got a course and it's in the links, and I'd love for you to join us. With just a small investment, you'll get 3 hours of how to start seeds successfully. And last year I had multiple gardeners attend my course who were absolute novices, and they had a huge harvest last year. Now, I will say Mother Nature did cooperate and gave us a lot of rain last July, so the harvest was definitely buffered by Mother Nature. But true novices that started out and had bumper crops with tips from no-dig gardening and other tips that I helped them do that made them look like experts. So join me on my course. This also supports my channel, which I really, really appreciate. So if you have a friend, maybe this is a great gift for them, or another gardener in your life, maybe for you. If you didn't get what you want, it's never too late to get your own Christmas list. Garden thoughtfully and take care.